Eagles had it at the end. It just came down to the last play. So, go Eagles.
Very tough loss. Yeah. I am very depressed right now.
An Eagles win was all Kara Ripley wanted on her 30th birthday.
Definitely not the birthday gift I wanted.
So sad that some fans could barely keep it together.
We answered, I talked stuff, I thought we had it, but it goes to show you who's the better team, and I'm sticking Cowboys.
You're crying.
I'm hurt. I love my Eagles. I don't believe this.
I think we're going to come back. We're going to win a couple more games. I don't think it's going to be like last year. It's hard to win Super Bowl back-to-back.
You going to flap the hat one more time for the Eagles for the hard fight they did?
Let's go Birds fly, Eagles fly. Still Super Bowl chance for now.
Back on the One Star Cowboys podcast. It's the Cowboys-Eagles preview episode. I'm Kevin Turner with John Machota, Saad Youssef, and Kent Garrison. I was listening to the episode that I had to miss the other night. I was in my car and when David Helman was filling in from Fox, and I was enjoying the coaching conversation a lot because a name came up in Pete Carroll, who I had not thought of. I didn't know if you guys had even thought of it that much. And it was just kind of interesting. I was in my car, kind of punched the steering wheel, like I thought I had all the names covered. It was Pete Carroll. I didn't think about that. I don't think it's a very likely possibility, but it was interesting at least.
KT, we're not even to the halfway point of the season. That won't be until halftime of Sunday's game, so we'll have plenty of time to throw out every possible name there is. But when you say that, I don't remember us talking about Mike McCarthy at this time 5 years ago when Jason Garrett. It looked like it probably wasn't going to be a good ending for his time in Dallas. So who knows? I would be surprised, though, if whoever that next coach is somebody that completely is somebody we never discuss. I feel pretty strongly that we'll know who that person is and we'll have mentioned their name, probably because we've probably mentioned 50 names already. But yeah, Pete Carroll's one that we haven't talked about. I just kind of assumed that he was done coaching because if he wasn't, then why wouldn't he have stayed in Seattle? But hey, mutual parting of ways. Maybe he's done, maybe he's not. But yeah, that would be an interesting one, I guess.
I got to say that I don't like it because, first of all, you think Cowboys fans want Belichick? How about get the one guy who's a little older than Belichick? And also doesn't bring with him like a new offense and all that stuff. I don't know. It was just interesting, and I enjoyed the episode.
Would you rather have Bill Parcells at age 83 or Pete Carroll at age 73?
You know what? For the chaos train, bring back the big tuna.
Let's go.
Yeah. What you just said there, though, KT, was kind of interesting about you said bringing in a new offense. Well, what do you think is going to happen with a new coaching? You think that they're going to bring in another coach that's like, no, we're going to keep building on these West Coast principles?
I don't know.
Like it's going to be a new offense. That's what it's going to be. And I'm sure it'll be sold as we're trying to do whatever's, Dak friendly in that. And I bring that up because it was interesting yesterday at Mike McCarthy's press conference. The final question was about them playing the Eagles and Kellen Moore and just kind of what you take from when you watch his teams on tape, because obviously he wasn't with the Eagles last year. He was with the Chargers and the Cowboys played against them. So how much of that can you take over into this game? And it got Mike McCarthy, the first, 6-7 sentences of his answer were all about Kellen Moore. But the back end of it was kind of interesting because I had not heard him say this in the past. But you go back to January 2020, when Mike McCarthy's hired, he talks about how, I wanted Kellen and I want him to be the OC because it's going to build on what Dak has already been doing because Kellen had been the OC in 2019, the year before. And obviously Jerry wanted that. And so that was a big part of Mike taking the job. He thought that would be, a good way to kind of transition into this new job. And he said yesterday, he goes, when you go to a different team, it's different players, no different than when I came here. I kept an offensive system in place because of the quarterback. That was a big decision. I don't know if I'd do that again. I don't regret doing it, but I think we all put in that position, you look to make those decisions. And at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for the players. So that was kind of interesting that he mentioned that if he had to do it over, he might do something differently, which the only thing differently he would have done is when he was hired as head coach, he would be, coach and offensive coordinator. So it was interesting because it's in the end of an answer of I don't know, I think 17-minute press conference. So it was just, it's not like this was something that I haven't heard him say, certainly not publicly, before.
Yeah, I think that was the thing. It was like, I think we all knew the fact that Jerry wanted to keep Kellen and Mike didn't really have a choice. And we all knew that. Anybody that's followed the team knows that. And I'm pretty sure we all kind of knew that Mike wouldn't prefer that. He's an offensive guy. But for him to say it out loud, I think I've heard him mention it like passively. I was thinking back, I think I've heard him mention it passively in like a walk-off or something, but I definitely, or like something close to that, but like I have not heard him say it publicly. So I think that was that was definitely the most interesting comment from the press conference.
So part of that interpretation could be this is what we all kind of know. Like, you don't get the job if you don't agree to let Kellen call plays, right?
Or maybe you still do, but that would have put something else on Jerry's plate to think about.
Yeah.
So maybe it doesn't, it doesn't guarantee you getting the job. Maybe the process is dragged out a little bit longer because Jerry wants to continue thinking about, all right, well, let me look for a head coach that wants to keep this rolling with what we've built with Kellen, So
and there's
what Mike's saying, he watched every single play and then saying, oh, he just said that to get the job. He could, it sounded like he really wanted the job and he was going to say whatever it took to get the job. So if Jerry said that he wanted to keep Kellen, Mike probably just went along with that so that he could get the job.
Very interesting. Let's go to Dak a little bit. Well, real quick. Just want to get this out there. Like West Coast principles and things like that we kind of talked about. You know what doesn't scream Dak Prescott to me is air raid. And that's not exactly what Cliff Kingsbury is doing in Washington. It's a name that's been tossed about, and I don't think the Cowboys are going to hire him, but, maybe it's a name that should be considered. We'll see how that season ends up in Washington. But the kind of 3-step drop, get rid of the ball as fast as you can, really looking at one read is what Jay Daniels is doing a lot of the time. I mean, sometimes he's having to extend plays with his legs. Dak's not going to be able to do that very much. But just kind of... we're going to get someone open, throw it to the grass, throw it to the green. Like that is not feel very Dak Prescott to me, to be honest, at this point.
I'll say this. Doesn't matter if tomorrow you give Mike McCarthy a brand new 5-year deal or you go with whoever you think's offense is the most different from Mike McCarthy's. None of it will matter behind this offensive line and no running game. And that's how Dak Prescott gets better. You have to have a very good offensive line, and you have to have a run game that teams respect, so that you can do all the other things that come off of it, and it takes the pressure off of that, off the quarterback to feel like they have to make every single throw for the team to be successful. And I'm not going to say that's been the case for all of Dak's career in Dallas, but a large chunk of it is we're going to go as Dak goes. If Dak has a big game, we're going to win. If not, it'll be close, but there's a decent chance we lose. So, I think that regardless of systems, it starts with fixing the offensive line. And hey, that might be as simple as a new offensive line coach and, another draft pick or a veteran player sign that helps solidify things there. And then obviously you have to put resources in at running back. I think if you do that stuff, regardless of whoever is calling your plays next year, I think it would improve.
Yeah, also because I think that's going to automatically, obviously, I agree with that, but that's also not letting Dak off the hook. I think that just automatically improves Dak, and Dak has been bad this season. I mean, regardless of the offensive line and the running game, he still has not done his part and hasn't held up his end of the bargain. But I do think adding a better offensive line and having a better running game definitely would improve Dak, and I think that's obviously the way that the team improves the fastest.
I watched how you needed to duct tape a first-round pick to Jared Goff for someone to take him off of your hands, and now he's being talked about as MVP. That's why, because he's got a great running game around him. He has all these weapons around him. Do you think it's because, ever since he got traded, He's just been working harder in the offseason. Let's stop. And also, we'll tie this in with something else that I just think is very, very interesting and well put, is that Jeff Howe, who covers the NFL, used to cover the Patriots for us at The Athletic, now covers the NFL. He talked to an executive recently for a story he was writing, and it touched on both Goff and on Dak. And I'll just read a quick one real quick about an executive talking about Goff. He said the marriage between Goff and the coordinator is awesome. They have a great mix. If you look at his drop back rate, it's not great. They do a lot of play action passing, a lot of quick game. He's unbelievable at that. They have great balance. They can run the ball whenever they want, and they have weapons on the outside. The best quarterbacks in the league have a running game, and the coordinator is on fire. A little bit later in the article, he's then asked about Dak. And actually, you know what? I want to make this clear. I don't know if it's the same executive. It might be a different one. But when talking about Dak, this NFL executive said they don't have a run game. They're throwing the ball too much. They have to throw the ball early because they have a run game that defenses don't respect. The more you put on the quarterback, the more pressure there is, the finer the line is. Then you get boom or bust games. If you can play with balance and you have a run game, you're able to use play action and put them in situations when you're at an advantage. If you turn the ball over, you don't stop anybody, you get into a game where you're behind, quarterbacks take more risks and have more turnovers. The more pressure you put on the quarterback, the more you increase the chance that it will blow up in your face. That's football 101.
No doubt. No doubt at all. So how do you get all that going? Oh, a lot of that is, well, I thought Terrence Steele was going to be the Terrence Steele from 2 years ago. Zach Martin, who knows? He may not be here next year, Cooper Beebe, I think we all feel good about that, honestly, right? Feel good there, Tyler?
Yeah.
Then you go, okay, Tyler Guyton. Well, I don't know. So more questions than answers on the offensive line.
I would think that whatever the Cowboys offensive line is for the next year, next 3 years, next 4 years, Tyler Guyton is going to be a starter. If it ain't at left tackle, then it'll be somewhere where they move him back to right. Like I don't see them moving on from Tyler Guyton.
And if you're trying to address the offensive line with a premium first round pick, I mean, you have so many options. Like you literally could pick your choice from anything but left guard. I mean, you could literally pick a center and move Cooper to right guard. You can pick a right guard. You can pick a right tackle, or you can pick a left tackle and move Tyler Guyton to right tackle. Like you could
the last part I think is the most likely scenario.
Yeah,
because usually if you're drafted in the top 10 and you're going to take, let's say it was last year's draft and you get Joe Alt, you're going to be like, well, we can't pass up on this tackle. And generally speaking, that's who's going to go high. Yeah, you're right. Because like even to center, like let's say they saw in the second round or something that they were like, no, this player is definitely best at center. I don't think they'd have any issues with like, well, we'll just BB would be the right guard then. I think they would feel great about that. BB is part of this. They like BB a lot.
Good. And I do too, based on what we've seen. Wonderful. Let's go. Okay, so my mind's going to a bunch of different places there. Let's talk about Dak first. That's one of the leads. Let's get that out in the first part of the episode. Dak's hurt, hamstring. There's been some updates. He's going to get a second opinion. We know that. Do you think Dak Prescott plays again this season?
I don't. And I think, we've seen reports of the injury being worse and the details of kind of like, what's going on with that. And I think even if the injury wasn't as bad and he just misses 4 weeks, I think we talked about this in our last episode or a couple episodes ago, maybe a post game, but I just think if you're 3-8, if you're 4-8, whatever at the point that he's ready to return, and this is your biggest investment right now financially, I don't know that in a lost season that you really do that. And I also don't know that the rate, like the division will be there or a playoff spot will be there in contention anyways. That was the whole thing. If people remember with Romo coming back against the Panthers, well, he came back against the Dolphins, but got injured again on Thanksgiving against the Panthers. The whole thing was that as bad as that season was going, the division was like still kind of in play. With the way Washington is playing and the move that they made with Marshawn Lattimore at the trade deadline, and Philadelphia is right behind them as well. I don't think the division's really going to be there in contention when Dak is ready to come back. So I think eventually they shut him down. I don't think it's a situation where immediately they say like he is out for the season. I think they put him on IR, say that, all right, we'll evaluate when he's ready to come back. And if Cooper Rush rolls off 5 straight wins, then like then I don't know if you want to bring Dak back for other reasons, but no, I'm joking. But yeah, I think that would be the only scenario, and I don't see that happening.
The most fascinating thing would be Cooper Rush running out 5 in a row. They're 8-5. Dak's healthy to come back, and they're just like, oh, let's keep riding the hot hand here. Yeah, I don't.
This is going to my next question, John. I don't like to cut you off, but I gotta say, is
go.
Cooper Rush good enough to prevent this thing? Let's say we hypothetically walk with me to a land where Dak gets another opinion, and they're like, dude, no, don't mess with this hammy. This is bad, dude. Like, this is players who have rushed back from it. Whatever. Don't do that. Is Cooper Rush too good to prevent you from not tanking? You can't tank in football. People could die out there. I want to be clear about that. But there are things you can do to commit to not being all in. Is Cooper Rush too good that you kind of win some games? Kind of keeps you in the mix?
Yeah, I think that's what happens. I think that there's a decent chance of that happening just because you are getting Micah back. You probably get Jerron Bland back. So the defense won't be nearly as bad, but it's not going to be great. We've seen it with them healthy. It's not going to be great, but I could see that getting a little bit better. And then I just have to factor in with, just the way that they played a couple years ago when Cooper Rush came in, and it wasn't like it was just, well, it's all bottom feeders, and that's why they went 4-1. That Bengals team was pretty good, that Rams team was pretty good, and then they lose that 5th game that he started to the Eagles, 26-17. So yeah, I mean, there were plays to be made in that game where he could potentially have won it, but you could clearly tell the Eagles were the better team in that game. But no, I do think he keeps you in the fight, and for a team that did a trade and didn't sell at the deadline and added a player, I don't think that they're at that point right now. Now that could change in a couple of weeks to where things are going so poorly that it's like our best chance is to just try and get the highest possible draft pick. I mean, there's very little chance that we're going to be in a position to make a run when Dak comes back. And then I think you'll see that when that happens, you're going to see a lot more of Trey Lance. I think that's ultimately, and I get that people think that they should, I don't know how much you guys have seen this, but there's definitely people out there that think they should just go to Trey Lance right now. I wouldn't do that. You have plenty of time. Like I said, I mean, you're not even technically halfway through the season. I would let Cooper Rush go for a few games, see where you're at there, see where Dak's at in his recovery, and then reassess it in a few weeks. But what they're doing right now is absolutely the right decision.
Yeah, and KT, to answer your question, I think you asked, like, is Cooper Rush too good to allow them to tank or like be that bad? But I think the Cowboys are that bad, whereas like it might not even matter how good of a backup Cooper Rush is.
Yeah.
Like, let's not forget, with Dak Prescott, a top 10 quarterback in the NFL on any given weekend, they are 3-5 and look terrible. And so it's that. And then like for Cooper Rush, the 4-1 start a couple years ago, I get it. And like John said, it wasn't all against bad opponents either. But when in that 5-game stretch that he went 4-1, the Cowboys were rushing for 128 yards per game in those 5 games. They are currently rushing for somewhere a little over 80. So that's a 50 yards drop off on average during per game. So there's that. And then also their defensive EPA right now ranks 30th in the NFL. They are a negative 42.34 defensive EPA. During that 5-game stretch where Cooper went 4-1, they were 34.3. And that was top 5 in the NFL during that stretch in the 5 games. So they had a really good defense. They had an effective running game that was giving you 130 yards a game, whereas right now they don't have a good defense. And even if the injuries, the guys that are injured start coming back, it's still not a very good defense. It will be better, but it's not a very good one. And the running game, there's no, you might go from 80 yards a game to to whatever 90, but you're not busting out all these big games. Up until this last weekend, in which they had 137 yards rushing, they hadn't had 128 yards rushing in a single game, let alone average that over a stretch of 5 games. So Cooper might be good enough, but this team is nowhere close to what it was 2 years ago, and that's why I don't think Cooper has a chance.
I think it's part of the reason I was kind of struggling to phrase that question, not only because I generally do struggle to make sentences, but also, like, I don't like talking about tanking, because it's not like football. These guys are all trying to win, and it's literally a sport where guys have to throw their body onto each other and tackle and try to hurt each other. So, like, I've never loved
they're
talking.
Well compensated for it.
Talking about tanking in football, like
you don't have to play if you don't want to.
Yeah, that's true.
Birthright. Like nobody said. Like,
yeah, no,
well,
you're
hey,
right.
You're a certain height and weight. You have to play in the NFL. It's not like you're.
It's dangerous for a guy to go, you know what? I'm not going to block my guy here, and then
no. Well, I don't think you
tell
tell anybody that. You just put in players that aren't as good as the players ahead of them, and that might be because the players ahead of them are nursing injuries, and you want to give them time to heal and things like that. You just put in players that aren't quite as good. No one's saying go out there and don't play as hard and risk injury, but also, even if you tell all these guys to go out there and play hard, the way they've played this season, the tanking probably will take care of itself. And the only reason why I'm stopping you on this is because I do think that occasionally it is good to tank for a team, an organization that really doesn't do that very often. Yeah. I think you can get into there's certainly, you see this a lot more, I feel like, in the NBA, where you see some of these bottom feeder teams tanking year after year after year after year, trying to build their entire team through a top 5 picks. And that affects your entire culture of your organization, where it's just like, this organization is not really trying to win. That's really not the Cowboys at all. I mean, no. of the last 15 years, if they were to tank, it's pretty much, so this would be an awful year, which it's already headed in that direction anyway. 15 when Romo got hurt, was a bad year like that, and then 20 when Dak got hurt. But other than that, the Cowboys are pretty much 500 or better every season. So I don't think that would be an issue to take a step back. And we've seen how well they've done when they draft high. I do think right now where things are headed, that is a very realistic plan, that you should be eyeing the possibility of having a top 5 pick. Of course, the players don't want to do that, and certainly the coaching staff doesn't want to do that. But from a management standpoint, if watching this team that you put on the field this season, that has to be in your mind somewhere.
Yeah, and to that point, tanking is basically if Dak is ready to come back and Cooper hasn't led them to a bunch of wins in a row, and you still leave Cooper in. That's essentially tanking. And again, that's not saying don't play hard or whatever, but Cooper's not the quarterback that Dak is. And so leaving him in there is kind of doing that. It's, the best example of that is the 2011 Colts, right? Like 2011 Colts, where, I mean, that's an organization every year was getting 10 to 12 wins a year, if not better. And then Peyton goes down and Curtis Painter comes in and all of a sudden you have Andrew Luck the next year. And so every once in a while you can have that terrible, terrible year. But I agree that you can't go into it with that.
I have some criticisms with how some teams handle tanking, because to me, tanking, you got to be committed. You got to be real committed to this is what's happening. And that's hard to get everyone on the same page on to do, because if you don't do that, you will fall into a victory in the NFL. Like, I don't know, the Panthers game coming up in a month, if it were to go that way. We're not there yet, whatever. I also asked too, because selfishly, I'm going to Lubbock on Saturday for Colorado and Texas Tech. And I'm making it a point to see how tired Travis Hunter is when you're not watching him on TV. Like wide receiver, cornerback, but like when he goes to the sideline, I'm going to be watching him very closely. How winded is he? Because if he becomes like Ohtani in the NFL, dude, can't you see Jerry Jones? I got Dion. The new Dion, Travis Hunter. I mean, he would love it. It wouldn't be what you want to do, maybe. How a lot of people want to maybe get the team running. Let's build up the trenches, get another offensive lineman or a game-changing defensive player, although he might be that. I mean, if the Cowboys had a top 5 pick, I could see Jerry doing whatever it took to get Travis Hunter because it reminds him of Dion. And because he's awesome. And it's like, does he get paid? Will he end up getting paid like after he's drafted, after his like rookie contract? Does he get paid like Ohtani? Like, you're a pitcher and a hitter, so we got to combine some salaries here. I mean, he's incredible. So I'm watching.
Yeah, let's see him do both though. Let's see him do both on a Sunday level, week after week after week after week, season after season before you even get to that contract. And if he is able to do that week after week, season after season, before, and then he gets to that non-rookie contract, then you can factor in doing something like that. I think that's a lot to ask. Let's just put it that way. I think he could be involved in offensive packages, but I don't know that you would be playing every offensive snap and every defensive snap. I don't think that's doable at the NFL level.
Yeah, and also if he does do it, well, number one, let's see if there's also a coaching staff that's willing to also do that as well. That if Jerry forces it upon them, then they're going to have to do it. That's true. But the other thing is Dion's a good example, but Dion's more of a two-sport example than a two-position example in football. Because Dion played some wide receiver, but it wasn't like he was going out there and playing, half the offensive snaps or anything like that. It was more the fact that he played football and baseball, but that's a different story. So I think the two position thing would be fascinating, but I'm with John. Like, let's see him do it on Sundays before.
No, for sure.
Yeah, and Travis Hunter's great, but he's not Bo Jackson. And there was a lot of people that probably thought Bo was going to play baseball and football for a long time too, and that obviously didn't happen.
I can see more likely that he plays like corner and then like special teams, like he's the kick return, punt return guy. Use him often on offense like that, maybe jet sweep type guy. But yeah, I don't see him like playing 40% of the snaps on offense and 60% on defense, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I would think of on the offense, like bringing him in a bunch in like red zone situations and stuff like that. But it could be done for sure.
Great player. I mean, whoever gets him is he's gonna be dynamic.
Those are the names we're gonna be talking about if we don't win some games here. We gotta go beat the Eagles. A couple days removed. I know you guys talked about it a little bit on the episode with Helman. Have your thoughts changed on Mingo at all in that trade, or are you still kind of where you are on that?
Yeah, I think it turns the season. I think that it's such a big move that, I just, after watching some tape and going over my draft grades from 2023 and just looking at my stack and my board, totally different. No, I feel the exact same way.
For me, I think I think it was a shrewd move by Jerry, not the actual deal, but I'm talking it was a shrewd move in a way that it's a move for the future, but you still get to keep your mantra of all in for this year because it looks like it can help this year, but it's really not about this year at all. It's really about the next 2 years. So I feel like Jerry really threaded the needle of like making it look like it's something that he did something to help this year, but in reality, it has nothing to do with this year. So I think that was basically my takeaway of the trade.
This is where I'm a jerk. I really only brought up Travis Hunter because I'm going to watch the game on Saturday, and I'm going to watch him closely, and I just kind of wanted to talk about that for a minute. And that's where I'm a jerk. That's not super serving Cowboys fans. And that's what we're here to do on the One Star.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's none right now that aren't talking about this stuff at all. Most are just completely on board with how this season's about to just be turned around in a fairy tale, and they're going to go deep into the playoffs. Yeah, I'm sure that's what they're talking about. But, this is probably the first time they're even hearing Travis Hunter's name.
No, and on the Mingo, the fact that the Panthers, who needed wide receivers, had kind of like, we don't really need to have you play that much. It's like, oh no. But I also think that Jerry's mantra of all in, look, mantras change. You don't have to stick with it. You can just pick a new one. Like,
it has changed. I don't know why anybody would believe that his all in back in January is the same all in that he was saying after he got the Dak deal done. That just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
If you read his explanation on what all in is back in January at the Senior Bowl, it's not signing Dak and CD. And then he signs Dak and CD and says, I'm all in. Why? Because I signed Dak and CD. Like, come on now. What are we doing here?
Can't back at the Cowboys.com mothership, didn't they have like a what was your favorite Garrett mantra? Like 6 inches or something?
Yeah, he had a lot of those. My favorite Garrett mantra is actually nut cutting time, KT.
Yeah,
okay. Mojo moment. Yeah, I know. I'm saying like
Austin
Powers.
We don't maybe
Cowboys are rooted this year.
Oh, they're rooted.
They're rooted.
Rooted in the standings.
Hey, 2025 Dallas Cowboys hanging around the rim. Come on, John.
Oh, hanging around the rim will always be one of my all-time faves. Like,
what did you think of McCarthy talking about smashing the tablet?
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're allowed to smash a tablet.
You know what he could have done? Actually said to just make that Breezo. He would have never done this because he would have been bashing a sponsor. Be like, oh, the tablet wasn't working. So I was mad it wasn't working and I threw it. I wasn't mad. It was just the tablet itself is why I was mad. But he can't do that because he's making fun of Microsoft or whatever. He would have got fined or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, but it also wasn't that. It was genuinely he was genuinely upset, and then he talked about it on the podium on Wednesday, but he talked about it with us on Monday in the walk-off and expressed the same emotions. So it was he was genuine about everything that he said, but he was upset because again the Cowboys, it was on that 3rd and 1 play, so it was the 3rd and 1 before the 4th and 1 to CD that didn't get converted. He really felt that, that they really needed to capitalize early in the game, get up ahead, and allow the defense to play from ahead. And when they weren't able to do that, I think like he understands how much, whether he'll never say this public, well, not, I wouldn't say never, but he's not going to say it publicly right now, but he knows that the second that this team goes down by 2 scores early in a game, like it's lights out anyways. And he could probably see that coming at that point. So, yeah, I think he was genuine in like how he feels like he portrayed himself, because as we've all talked about before, like he is a good dude and as a human being and as a person and all that stuff. But I mean, he was genuinely upset because he knew that the game was probably going to get out of hand there.
Yeah. So earlier in the season, I'm trying to find when this was. So yeah, okay, here, September 18th. The Cowboys, didn't start off the season great, and there were a lot of fans on social media talking about how, like, the way the team looked on the sideline, like there was no emotion and things like that. And I saw a lot of mentioning of how it used to be when, like, Dez would be on the sideline and things weren't going well. So I asked McCarthy at that time, so this is September 18th, and I asked him about his thoughts on players having emotional outbursts on the sideline. And he said emotion is a big part of the game. Emotional discipline is critical to the game. You learn quickly in the game of football, especially in this league. What happens on the sidelines usually just stays there. It doesn't get evaluated much further than that unless it's connected to things that come off of that. In general, it's probably no different than a football game. It's a lot easier and self-fulfilling to yell as loud as you can the MF word and feel good about it. Maybe it looks like you care, but I don't think always perception is reality.
Oh my God. Let me just say, I can't believe you kept that quote. That's unbelievable. Like the fact that you could just, remember when you said this? It's
amazing. Fascinating. It's fascinating that you bring this up, because there's some other people out there in the media who are on Twitter quite a bit, and I'll tweet out videos or pictures. And everybody buckle up. I'm about to share some real wild secrets here. If you tweet this stuff, it's there forever. Yeah. Like, people think I save all this stuff on my phone. Like, I have 4,052 pictures and 25,000 videos. Like, I delete them at the end of the day of all training camp. I know what to type in to go look them up. That's the only reason I was able to find them. I'm just bringing that up because there's some other people that have said that to me. Like, how much storage do you have in your phone? I'm like, so I don't know. Like, I don't know if any of you guys do this, but I do it with Instagram too, where it's like, I don't want to keep all these pictures, so I do like a photo dump like once a month or once or whatever. So then it's out there so that Instagram has it. I don't have to keep all this stuff on my phone.
What's amazing is the fact that you even remembered that he said it. Because there's so much said and there's so many storylines. The fact that you're like, I think he commented on this 7 months ago.
John was the one that asked that question. I know John was the one that asked that question.
Oh, okay, yeah, got it.
Yeah. But because of the people talking about how, it used to be like we would have players flipping out and all that, and whatever. So I wanted to ask him because I knew he wasn't a big fan of it. But anyway, when we were in the walk-off, I remember him mentioning to us about how, there was some plays in Green Bay. And so he's had similar sideline outbursts and things like that with it. Also, by the way, real quick, just to tie in with the whole phone thing. So yesterday in the locker room wasn't a lot going on. We had Micah outside the locker room. Trey Lance talked inside of the locker room, and maybe one other player. That might have been it. It was a pretty slow Wednesday. So myself and a few other reporters basically just hung out at Micah's locker room talking about life. I'm telling you, like he's got, I'm not going to say it's not 20,000, but it's the pictures and videos that he has in his phone, just telling stories, how fast he could bring them up. I couldn't believe how much storage he has on his phone. Like just talking about a random trip he went on a vacation and how different the lemons look there to the way they look in the U.S. and brought this picture up, man. I'm telling you, in like 30 seconds tops. Like it was stunning to me. Wow. So anyway, it just tied in with the whole phone storage.
Do you want to know how many pictures I have on my phone?
Yes.
Here. Okay. I have 47,000.
Oh my gosh!
So for everybody out there, I just want to conclude one sentence with this, just because I've known Saad for a while, and sorry about outing you on this, but so Saad takes pictures of his food. So
That's
I'm
right.
just gonna leave. I'm gonna leave that there.
I have, and I actually have an album for all my food pictures, and that has 5,454 pictures in it.
There's got to be some kind of app where it can log breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you just upload a photo. Saad, you don't have to.
Yeah, seafood.
I just, I'm a foodie. And
like, what did I eat for breakfast on January 14th? Just
and to be fair, I'm not taking pictures of like food just like randomly. Like it'll be stuff that like, okay, I went out to a restaurant and I got this thing and like, I want to have it late, like make it later or do something with it later or something like that. So I'll take a lot of pictures like that. But yeah, I'm a picture taker for sure.
Are you a foodie, Saad?
I am big time.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
No, I take a lot of pictures and videos. I just delete them.
You guys don't do like a Google Photo thing or a go to the cloud or anything like that?
Yeah, it costs like $5, I think. I think it actually cost me $3.99 to have like a terabyte or something on my phone. So
yeah, I pay like an extra $1 a month or something.
Yeah.
So I have I used to have like the old CD booklet, with all the CDs that you would have in your car.
Oh,
yeah,
that's so funny you said that, because I found my CD booklet like literally this week, and I've been going and playing all the CDs that I had, because I have so many mixed CDs that'll just say like local bands, and I'm like, what was on this? And I am having the best time just discovering so many things I haven't heard in 20 years and don't have on, or don't exist on YouTube anywhere, things like that. It's
you got like some Taylor Swift show you went to like 15, 20 years ago or something when she was first starting out.
Oh yeah. Cover
Live
Lose
records,
Yourself,
Well, I bought a CD burner, and I spent the summer taking these CDs and just digitizing them and putting them on a Google Drive, which I'll happily pay for, but forever, my photos and my music is all there until it gets hacked.
Yeah.
And, but like realistically, it's all there. And it was very happy. It was so fun to go back and listen to some of this stuff, and I had to pull up Shazam to remember song titles sometimes and things like that. But it was
Shazam.
like, oh man, it fulfilled my OCD needs.
Listen to this segue. I also recently discovered my old iPod, booted that bad boy back up, loaded the songs on there. I used to listen to podcasts on the road on my iPod. So I found a bunch of old podcast episodes from like 20 years ago that were still downloaded on there. Hilarious. Micah's podcast, though, needs to stop giving teams poster board material before games. Why is he saying this? All this great stuff about Saquon Barkley 4 days before Saquon Barkley is about to play him. If I was the Eagles, I would have a quote of Micah's quote about Saquon Barkley in the locker room this week.
Well, I think with Saquon, it's a little different. Like it's not the same as Jordan Lewis talking about Amon-Ra St. Brown, where there's like animosity and it's like clipped off and you're using it as motivation. Like Micah and Saquon are good friends, and so I think like if he's taking a shot at Saquon or something like that, like I don't think it's taken in that locker room or taken by Saquon as like some like shot at him, as much as like, Jordan Lewis would be against like Amon-Ra St. Brown, for example.
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other too. Is if Micah plays for, let's just say the Jaguars, and is doing this podcast, is it even on anyone's radar at all? Because these guys do podcasts. Amon-Ra St. Brown does podcasts. I'm just talking about that very often. Rarely, like once a year, something viral will come from it.
I still think he does, because like even leaving the locker room yesterday, we were back in like the media workroom, and I was telling Nick Harris of the 4-Star Telegram that I go, sitting around there and listening to that, can you just imagine whoever the executive it was that he sat with, or whoever he talked to at Bleacher Report, and I bet you within 10 minutes of whatever random conversation they had, they were like, yeah, no, we'll make you, no, oh, your own podcast? No, we'll make you the executive of all podcasts. You know what I'm saying? Like he is that engaging, and he can talk on so many different subjects. And that's the thing, like the more subjects you talk about, the more people are going to agree and disagree with your viewpoints. And so, yeah, I don't think it's as popular as it is with him being a Dallas Cowboy, but I do believe he'd have one of the most popular podcasts. And then also the fact that he genuinely is a fan of the game and tries to get other players, other star players, to like just how he is with like getting jerseys and stuff like that. He's a fan of so many people that I think that even if a season wasn't interesting with like your example of the Jags, I think he would find other ways to make it interesting. So yeah, I don't think it would be as he would be as popular, but I think with all the topics he talks about, there'd be several of them that catch into the mainstream sports scene that people would be talking about.
All right, let's move on to Fly Birds Fly. This one is weird. The Cowboys have not played well at home all season long. And the Eagles, despite not very often looking like absolute world beaters, are a very good football team, clearly. And it's hard not to respect that. I know we'll get to picks and predictions in a minute. The more I think about this thing, like the Eagles have not done a great job through the air yet this year. I think they're still trying to get that offense fully going, but they are doing a lot of things on the ground that's fascinating, and it's just hard for me to see anything happening. So take the offense and Cooper Rush out of it. I just don't see a world where the Cowboys keep the Eagles under 27, 28 points.
I agree, man. When I look at those stats and you see that they're averaging like 175 rushing yards per game, with going off of watching how bad the Cowboys have been against the run and how bad the Cowboys run the football, when you see that, you have to like double check and go through the game log of all their games. Like, hold on, this stat can't be right. 175 yards a game? Are you kidding me? On the ground? So that is fascinating to me, and that is absolutely the recipe that would prevent this game from even being close. I'll be surprised if it's a game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, the Cowboys, if I'm not mistaken, have 21 or 22 straight games, if I'm not mistaken, without a 100-yard rusher. The Eagles have had a 100-yard rusher in each of the last 3 weeks. So it's a very different dynamic for sure. I think before we get to predictions, I do want to ask you, like, let me throw this out there. If you guys were, say Dak Prescott is healthy and playing in this game, like, you don't have to give a score or anything like that, but what would be your pick this week with a healthy Dak Prescott?
So I've only picked the Cowboys twice all season, so I still would be picking the Eagles, but I see it being potentially a game still in the fourth quarter. That would be the difference for me. I think that there is a chance the Cowboys could win. I don't really see them having much of a chance of winning without Dak. So it changes a little bit, no question. But it's not like we haven't seen them a decent sample size this first half of the year already with Dak, with Micah, and seen them still play. It's hard to get past that New Orleans game for me. I thought it would be the hardest for me to get past the Green Bay playoff loss, and that still is number one for me. But that New Orleans game and everything that's unfolded in New Orleans ever since that game, literally since that game has ended, it's tough for me to like sit there and say that no, I think that they can just turn a corner. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, that real quick, KT, before your thoughts on it, the New Orleans game. It's funny because the last win that New Orleans had was the Cowboys, and the losing streak started at the hands of the Eagles. So that's how this whole thing has begun for New Orleans. But yeah, KT, who would you take with a healthy Dak?
Well, the spread's 7.5, right? So, what was it going to be with Dak? 3.5, 4.5?
Yeah,
2, really?
2.5. I think it was 2.5 when it started. Yeah.
Boy, the Cowboys just must always get a lot of money put on them because
No question.
that's amazing. I mean, I don't think there's anyone. We all know the Cowboys could go win a game, especially in the division. Like,
I would say the path.
Big
The
time
path
shocker,
would be your defense shows up and causes like 3 takeaways. Forcing Jalen Hurts to fumble and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden there's like a little momentum there, and it ends up being a lower scoring game than maybe we had thought it would be because you've stolen some possessions. But yeah, it would be one of those games where like you win the turnover battle like 3-0. That would and you probably still need to go ahead and sprinkle in some type of big Cavante Turpin return somewhere along the lines, and then it could happen. But I just think it's very unlikely.
Yeah, doesn't look good here. Does not look good. And on the other side of the ball, like the Cowboys, whatever they're gonna try to do, interesting. Like generally, backup quarterback comes in, so we're playing a little bit safer, and we're playing a little field position here and there, and like. I don't think you can do that because the defense hasn't shown that that's going to matter. Maybe that changes, get Micah back and all that stuff, and changes things a little bit. But it's just it's hard to not think that this is going to be a bad game. I heard someone who's one of those sports media podcast guys. I don't know, but they were talking about the Cowboys having the big, game of the week still, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, they will still get it. They'll have Monday Night Football. And if the Cowboys are still there, it doesn't matter how bad it's going. They'll probably get the A team when they have the 3:25 starts." I don't know. A lot of people don't care about the announcers, but it's just interesting to me. It's like, man, I think I'm almost weirdly a little more interested. Now, clearly, I'm more interested in Cowboys Eagles, but like an NFL fan is going to watch this game, and the game might not be very close. I'd like to see what Kyler Murray and Aaron Rodgers are doing. Like, those are not even good teams either.
I keep up with that. I keep up with that. I keep up with those numbers quite a bit because it is a little bit of like the Caitlin Clark factor of like how the games that she's in, like it's the same way with the Cowboys. I think they did 24. I think it was 24 million, 23.9, something like that for the Sunday night game against the Niners, who obviously aren't playing that great, and that made me kind of like laugh. Like, man. What if these teams are good? What's that number at? And then I think Lions, Packers did about the same, did about 24. And so I was like, okay, yeah, it's somewhere in that same neighborhood or whatever, but the things are getting worse, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden this thought popped in my head. You know what might be the most watched game this year? Cowboys Giants. Oftentimes that Thanksgiving midday game is the most watched NFL game, and that is awful of where that could possibly be. Like just where these two seasons are headed for those two teams, and that is the number one spot to get the most TV ratings, especially with involving the Cowboys, and then obviously the Giants have a big market as well. So I'm just like,
and Lainey Wilson.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course, Lainey Wilson, of course.
Hi, y'all. I'm here. She's got the craziest voice of anyone I've ever heard.
What are you trying to say? Are you trying to say it's not authentic?
No, I don't know.
I've heard people throw that out. That
more authentic voice, Lainey Wilson or Hawk to a Girl?
Oh, I think Hawk 2 is legit. I think that's her real.
Yeah. She's got a powerful podcast.
So Lainey Wilson's not legit.
You think she'd come on this podcast?
No.
I think. Well, we'll see. Once the well dries up, absolutely.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's gonna take us about. It'll be about a year later, 2 years later, maybe.
I can't believe KT wasn't the one that tracked her down. I mean, that used to be your thing, KT, just finding people and viral videos, getting them on the radio. You have a knack for tracking down people like that.
Hold on. Before you answer that, the behind the scenes of this would be the biggest turnoff because you'd reach out and you would get pointed in a direction of someone that handles all of that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then when they threw out the dollar amount, you would be like, "Oh my god, what are we doing?"
When you hear the dollar amount she charges just to like show up at a concert or something, might make you sick. But credit to her for cashing in on it, though. There's a huge lesson to be learned from anyone who goes viral on purpose or not on purpose. You can cash in on it if you really want to. She is living proof of that. There are so many people. Remember that lady at the Chargers game a few years ago that went viral for going crazy? Yeah. Could have cashed in on it. Definitely didn't. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think she had the same staying power. That's pretty niche, like football audience. This Hawk Tua thing took over. Like, it was such a mainstream thing and nothing against her that, yeah, she's making a lot of it. But I would say, though, we also are in a time where something like that, everybody was surprised at how long, like, that should have been like a day or two thing. And then all of a sudden weeks went by. And so I just kind of believe that if you do something like that, even if you don't really care that much about it, people will find you to try and make something out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, whether it be publicists or people that own big podcast companies and things like that, where they will, even if you don't want to do it, they'll beat you down until you're like, all right, I'll do the podcast, whatever, let's do this. Like that. We are in that type of with the internet, the way how quickly people can reach out to you and find you, that can put you in a position where it's like, all right, well, I guess I'm doing all this stuff now.
Yeah, and to her credit though, like she is a very different, like she's pretty like put together and not that wild as, like, I'm saying, like, in the way that clip seems like, that's clearly she was like drunk and just like whatever, because she is not really like leaned into that whole persona. She's and like people that have brought her on and interviewed her and stuff like that have tried to get that out of her, but she's just like I'm not saying she's like perfectly put together, but she's not the Cash Me Outside girl. Like,
yeah,
for sure.
Like, she's not.
But she's also made a lot too off of it.
She has made a ton. So, in fact, more.
But she is that way. But she is like that. The Cash Me Outside girl is like that.
Yeah.
This Hawk Tua girl is kind of just like, that was a viral weird moment that people are trying to make it more out of it. And she's just like trying to have like normal conversations.
Right. But I'll also say that, and I'm going back to the whole, like, if you do this viral moment, I wouldn't expect. There's just a lot of people that have been on, and I think Joe Rogan probably deserves a lot of credit for elevating the podcast game to where it is, and people opening their eyes on the money you can make off of that. But like, I'll just put it to you this way: there are people that Howard Stern and like Bill Maher have on their shows, radio shows, podcasts, whatever, that I'm like, no chance they would have these people on 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But they've had to lean into it as well
on his podcast.
Well, that's why I said it. Yeah. So anyway,
yeah,
I watched every minute of that. No, I didn't, but I definitely saw the clips of it. But I think about that a lot. With there's just I'm not saying like just internet sensations, but even like some musical acts and things like that like Howard Stern will have on, that would be like, he never would have done that 10, 15 years ago. But you have to kind of lean into it, because the media side of things is really changed,
Listen to me bring this back again to the Cowboys. Remember the Cowboys fan lady that freaked out on the airplane and said these mother effers are not real? And
talking about Tiffany Gomez?
Yeah, did not cash. There should have been a These Mother Effers Are Real podcast with Tiffany Gomez. Sponsored by FanDuel. The next
but hold on. Yeah, that is a good one. Okay, so my thoughts on that are, though, and this kind of goes back to the Hawk Tua girl thing as well. I'm saying people will seek you out, but you can also choose not to do that stuff. And maybe that girl chose not to do that.
She's rich already. That's why.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So there you go.
I got a friend who knows
got
her.
the whole backstory, so this is good.
I've got a friend who knows her.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you don't necessarily, doesn't mean you have to do that, like.
Yeah, she just.
I'm willing to bet that MFers Are Not Real girl was kind of told not to do stuff.
By who?
Well, I think it just
forces.
Okay, UFO Kent here. Okay, now this is good.
Geez. All right, maybe that's
what
shut
time
down
for
my
it.
podcast I was recording earlier today.
I'll send you down a wormhole. Just go look at her tweets before she started her new Twitter account. Just throw that out there.
Let's get some picks in here. Looking at our records this year, guys, I am 5-3. It's not bad. Kent is 5-3. It's not bad. John is 5-3. Not bad. Sod 6-2. You're a legend, and you're going to lead us off this week.
Yeah, I mean, with Dak, without Dak, I was going to pick the Eagles regardless. The spread is like 6.5, 7, something like that at this point. The only thing that gives me like some cause to pause, like it's just, look, the Eagles, like we're talking about how bad the Saints team is, right? They beat the Saints by 3, 15-12. We talk about how bad the Browns are. The Eagles snuck that one out 20-16. They are coming off of a 28-23 win over the Jaguars, in which they did not want to win that football game. So those are three. Like, if the Cowboys were playing the Jaguars right now head to head, I think I'd pick the Cowboys. And so I'm like, the Eagles are a weird team, but all that to say, I'm not picking the Cowboys to win. But I am going to actually pick the Cowboys to cover the spread, and I'm going to go Eagles 27, Cowboys 23.
I'm going Cowboys 17, Eagles 31. I think that if Kellen Moore gets a chance, he'll run up the score.
You said 17?
31-17 Eagles.
Okay. I have Eagles 27, Cowboys 16, purposely because the over-under is 43. So I wanted to get right on that number of 43. Kent.
I'm going to go, it's an NFC East game, so feeling like this one might be a little more chippy than some of the more recent Cowboys losses / games. I'm going to go with Philadelphia 24, Cowboys 22.
Okay. Hey, let's hope we get a one-score game just for our sanity. But 47-9 would be terrible. We don't want to do that again.
By the way, KT, did you or John have to give up any money last week? Because that was a pretty
common score, right?
Yeah, common score.
We did not. Someone did have Cowboys. Yeah, they had Cowboys 27, Falcons 21.
Oh.
Over on the Discord server, of course, what we're talking about. There were a couple really close ones, though. So we're safe and not in debt yet. But, get those in. Picks and predictions tab on our Discord server. It's the One Star Cowboys podcast over on Discord. There's a link there, I think, in our bio on the podcast as well, which is on Apple and Spotify and many other places. So you can go enjoy the podcast. That's cool. All right, guys. Well, we will talk to you Sunday night. From
your score, did I black out?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. Eagles 27, Cowboys 16.
Did you say that already?
Yeah, but it's fine. It was I was quick.
Sorry. I don't know what I'm doing over here.
Because the over under, dude. I mean,
also,
look at
that's the. I don't know if you did this on purpose, but isn't that the exact score that the Eagles won in Cooper Rush's last start? I'm pretty sure it's.
I think it is.
Right?
Yeah, I think it is. I did not do that on purpose, though.
2 straight 27-16 losses to the Eagles for Cooper Rush. That's rough.
It's so hard for this team to score a touchdown.
It does need to be noted that the last time the Eagles won at AT&T Stadium was 2017. So it's that Wentz year where he got hurt about 3 weeks later, and then Foles took over and they ended up winning the Super Bowl. But yeah, so that's the last time. So we're talking the last time the Eagles won at AT&T Stadium. Jason Witten's on the field, Des Bryant, Terrence Williams. Cooper Rush got in and attempted a pass late in that game. I believe that was his rookie year. So, but yeah, so last 6, the Cowboys have won at AT&T Stadium. So if anybody, hold on. Does anybody want to change their pick? Sorry.
I don't, but I'm glad you brought up that magical 2017 year. Because I stayed on the same floor as the Eagles, trapped in the Mall of America that week, and I'm pretty sure I gave them the flu. And it was also fun to talk to LeGarrette Blount pretty much every night at the hotel bar, except for the 2 nights I didn't go to the hotel bar because of the flu.
Hold on,
to get the flu.
With that thought, though, I wanted to share this with you guys real quick because when I was doing some research about that game, I came across this on the old Wikipedia. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but I found this kind of fascinating. So Carson Wentz tears his ACL. I think it was 3 weeks after that Cowboys game. He's out for the season. He has to get surgery. It's like in December, whatever. I don't remember hearing any of the following. In 2022, an article in the Philadelphia Inquirer reported that prior to Super Bowl LII, Wentz expressed displeasure to other injured teammates that the Eagles were seeing success without him. Wentz was immediately confronted by one of the players, and the two had to be physically separated. Later in November 2022, former teammate Darren Sproles, who was on the Super Bowl winning team, revealed that he had a conversation with Wentz saying, quote, I had to make him realize that you have to be happy for the team. We're all mad that we're not playing. We're all hurt, but you still have to be happy for the team. I don't remember hearing any of that he was upset.
Yeah, I think it's probably, I don't either, but I think it's probably because it was like, I think a 2022 article and he was just so irrelevant by then.
Yeah.
I think like it just probably didn't register because I don't remember hearing that either.
I don't remember.
It's just fascinating to hear about like a starting quarterback getting hurt, but then the team having success, and then that quarterback not being happy for like that other quarterback.
Yeah,
it's just crazy. Yeah, wow.
Well, there was like bad teammate rumors about him, but that specifically I do not remember.
But football is a meritocracy,
It is.
It is absolutely is. Hey, and look, that's why the Dallas Mavericks respected you and gave you that roster spot. All right. Look, you'd put in a lot of time. We saw a tough thing happen. No, it did shock me in like week 4 or 5. And wait, they're putting in Carson Wentz at the 4-yard line. He plays for the Chiefs. I was like,
right.
What?
Right, yeah.
Can you name every team Carson Wentz has played for?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Washington, Philadelphia,
Colts.
Colts, Tampa Bay?
Nope.
Never went to Tampa Bay. Okay.
One more.
Chiefs.
I've got one for you.
Yep.
Chiefs.
Yeah,
and
one more.
Rams.
There
you go.
Yes.
Oh, wow. I didn't know the Rams one.
How could you forget?
Rams. Yeah, how could you forget?
How did you not buy a jersey?
I remember at the Senior Bowl when Carson Wentz was coming out.
Yeah.
And
I do too.
Jerry was so in love with Carson Wentz. It was like, I've never seen Jerry Jones get starstruck, but when he went on the field to shake his hand, it was like he was meeting the Pope or something. Like,
it was a lot to like.
I'm Jerry. I'm just a big fan of your work, sir. It was crazy.
I wish he would have been obsessed with Jalen Ramsey in that draft. What?
It's actually surprising with considering how much in love with him he was that he hasn't taken a chance on him at any point.
There's still time.
All right, John, good luck against Notre Dame this week, buddy.
Oh, God.
What a dick.
I'm sorry. Our friend, my friend TC is going to that game.
Yeah.
He's really excited about it.
As he should be.
It's like, we'll report back on our college football travels next week. I think I'm going to see a closer game.
My brother's a big Notre Dame fan, so I can live with it. It's fine.
Okay.
It's going to be bad. It's going to be real bad.
I think it's a 27-point.
I don't hate Notre Dame either. I'm from the Michigan area up there, Like I've been
annoyed by him, but
several games in South Bend. It's probably my favorite college football spot. So yeah. I'm not.
Well, the Rudy story's not real. So, all right, John.
Parts of it
son. They're parts of it.
Parts.
And then you meet the guy, and the guy's a complete dick.
That's true. That part's true.
Sucks.
And then the all the players walking into the coach's office and laying down their jerseys. I want Rudy to play for me. Probably stretch that one a little bit, but yeah.
All right, Kent, John, Sod, everyone out there listening, go follow these guys. All right, go read their stuff. Listen to Mad About Movies podcast too. Yeah. And then we'll catch you on Sunday night. Maybe John or Sod will be live by some of the artwork, or maybe by the curtains. Well, the curtains won't be pulled over the window, unfortunately. But it'll be good. It'll be fun. No matter what happens, we're all gonna have fun and play together. That's what Andy Dalton said that one time. Good son.
KT, one last thing, because you brought it up. I'm actually curious. It's a 3:15, 3:30 game. Sunsets at 5:30-ish now.
Yeah.
Like, that first half of the game could be
brutal.
Could be wild.
You guys think it's going to be like competitive enough for the sun to matter in this game? It's just cute. I like this.
It could work in our favor, I think.
Yeah, that's the only reason they win.
Yeah,
like that's like the Eagles locker room all after the game. That's all the storylines are. Just, I don't know how anybody plays in this place. We couldn't see anything.
It's like Mike wins the toss and defers to the second half because he wants to choose which side of the field to go down, and it's like,
and the cameras immediately cut to Kellen, and he's rattled because he knows exactly what just is about to go down.
Let's not act like he didn't call a few design plays into the sun. We saw it happen.
Never forget, guys, that was on purpose. The way the sun comes in, that was on purpose.
Devontae Smith, 2 drops in the sun. Calling it. Hot take. All right. We'll see you guys on Sunday night. Goodbye, everyone. This is the One Star Cowboys podcast.
Austin Powers,